Hello and welcome to my website. I'd like to give you guys just a little bit of a virtual tour to help you just have a better understanding of where to find information and what this is really looking at. So very obviously I'm at the home screen, just a little bit of background information about myself, but of course the part that we care about a little bit more would be towards our toolbar at the top. So as far as the candidate info, my introduction and goals, you can see a couple of things that I'm looking at professionally and personally. Professionally, that I'm looking at wanting just to actually apply myself through using virtual reality as one of the big pieces of technology that I was wanting to involve a little bit more with, and then also just being more involved in my school's leadership. Of course, there's other information in there, but that's kind of the two big things I wanted to point out from that certain page. As far as my technology philosophy, this is linked as well, and you can always pop these out, of course, if that's a little bit easier for you guys. One of the big things that I've heard throughout all my classes was this difference between implementation and integration, and how we actually want to be very purposeful for how we're using technology within the classroom. So this certainly expands upon that, but that was one of the big things that stood out to me as I was going throughout this program. Of course, my resume is also here as well, so we can find a little bit about my education experience and work experience, and of course my references if those are ever needed. Of course, the biggest thing that we're looking at would be the professional development plan itself. So to give you guys a little bit of a rundown, what I'm really considering for this professional development plan is how my district is currently paying for this company called Project Lead the Way. We're using that as our curriculum for STEM education. So our engineering pathway is going through that for 3 different classes: basic drafting, principles of engineering, and then an engineering design and development capstone course. The issue that I've noticed is that most of the teachers within my district are actually not even using the curriculum. And I've talked to a few of them about it, and most of it stems from the fact that they just are not comfortable with it, and it's just been easier for them to keep doing what they've been doing. So the big thing that this plan looks at is how can we really help these teachers find confidence with what they're doing. And there's a few different supporting parts of that, of course. But that's the biggest thing that we're starting to look at, and that's really what all this evidence is trying to support. How can we actually get these other teachers at our district who've already gone through the 2-week crash course training, how can we get them to feel confident enough to actually lead their own classes? So going through this for the assessments and the goals, we have those provided, of course, but a lot of this is just giving them some more actual hands-on information with going through the different parts of it. And I'm, of course, referencing this around one class in particular. It's the class that has the largest amount of different things that they will be working with. And the hope is that by focusing on that toughest class, those same strategies can be used on other aspects as well. Okay. Moving through, though, all these other supporting evidences really just help kind of see different pieces in action. So on this part for our training videos, I did 3 main things. 2 of them were with students. One was, of course, since the COVID-19 outbreak, so I would ask for your grace on considering that one for the one on the right here. The other on the far left was working with one specific program. So this would be a certain style thing that I could do with teachers or with students, just to help them kind of see how you could actually use something very easily within the PLTW curriculum and actually learn a lot from it. The center one was directed primarily towards teachers. These are obviously science teachers, and there's some overlap between the classes, but this is something that is certainly helping these different teachers just be able to use different things that help out students. So it's a tool that they can use to help promote ACT growth, and of course throughout all of our pathways that is a focus that we have. Moving forward, though, for the presentations, they do match with the different videos that are provided on the previous page. Most of these are PowerPoints. I find that it's easier for me to have those up in the background and to talk through and use as my own presentations. The one on the right, though, for just a little bit of a difference, is using a Prezi instead. So it does give you kind of a walking through, and in all honesty, for both the ones that I've used for students, this is something that I would probably consider putting up on their Google Classroom, so they could look back and reference at any point. But those actual presentations themselves are listed here, and then my background information is going to be down towards the bottom, and that's going to include the IST standards for each of them as well. Moving forward to the article summaries, most of these were in support of my professional development plan and looking at how we could actually continue to move forward with it. My district currently has said that they are evaluating whether or not to keep Project Lead the Way, and I think that this plan would be a great opportunity for them to see that it could be very beneficial, but in the case that they don't, or even if they just want to add more to it, these article summaries can help kind of give us some direction of where to go with that. So the first one, mixed reality within science and technology education. That's something that could be used not only within this engineering pathway, but also just within the science classes themselves. And I do try to kind of diversify out, so it's not just one small thing that we're kind of helping with here. Importance of STEM as well as the e-textiles. Those are also things that are looking at how we can actually get just a little bit more bang for our buck, if you will. One of the big things that teachers have complained about doing is using these more complex programs. Well, students are going to have the exact same complaints. So the ultimate idea is how can we provide things that are a little bit more hands-on for our students and teachers to be able to feel like they're learning more and just have more concrete connections with that. And that kind of goes throughout all three of those different article summaries. It's a common theme between them. As far as the extra resources that we're working with here, I did put subheadings for each of these. So we have video guides for different programs that I've been using. Scrolling down, we have different actual text guides that we would be using as well, so infographic guides themselves. And then there's also a few presentations that are being made. So resources and documentation. These are various projects, various articles, things I've used throughout my other courses that could certainly be beneficial, just depending on what you're looking at for specifically. But those are the biggest things, of course, for the professional e-portfolio that we're working with. The other things you'll notice will get updated as they come through, both the peer review information, and of course I'll be adding this here momentarily to the reflection that we have, as well as my transference reflection, which is already posted. So I thank you very much for considering me and for helping me throughout this journey, and I look forward to kind of just our last step here. Thank you very much. Have a good day.